The most dangerous message humanity could ever send might be very short. Not a weapon, not a threat, just a signal pointed at the sky saying, "We are here." That sounds dramatic, maybe too dramatic. After all, the night sky looks calm. A radio telescope does not look like a loaded gun. It looks like a big white dish listening to static. But the dark forest theory asks a nasty question. What if the universe is not silent because it is empty? What if it is silent because the civilizations that survive have learned not to speak first? The idea became famous through Liu Cixin's science fiction novel, The Dark Forest, the second book in the Three-Body Problem series. The book is fiction, of course. It is not a scientific paper, and it is not proof of aliens. But the idea stuck because it takes one of the oldest questions about space and gives it a cold, strategic answer. The old question is the Fermi Paradox. Our galaxy is huge. It is old. It contains hundreds of billions of stars, and we now know that planets are common. The NASA Exoplanet Archive lists more than 6,000 confirmed planets outside our solar system, and that is only the part we have managed to detect. Many of those worlds are not Earth-like. Some are roasted giants close to their stars. Some are frozen. Some are just dots in data. Still, the number matters. Once you know planets are everywhere, the silence starts to feel less obvious. A person scrolling through an exoplanet catalog will not see alien cities. They will see names like TOI, Kepler, HD, numbers, orbital periods, little tables, boring columns. But behind those dry entries is a strange possibility. Somewhere, on some ordinary planet around some ordinary star, chemistry might have become biology. Biology might have become intelligence. Intelligence might have built tools, antennas, machines, maybe something we would not even recognize as technology. So where is everyone? For decades, SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, has tried to answer that by listening. Radio signals, optical signals, patterns that do not look natural. The hope is not that aliens are chatting like people on a phone. Space is too big for that. The hope is that somewhere there is a signal that nature would not normally make. Narrow, ordered, artificial, maybe accidental, maybe deliberate. And so far, nothing has been confirmed. That is the part people often jump over too quickly. We have not searched the whole galaxy, not even close. We have searched small slices at certain frequencies, with certain instruments, for certain types of signals. It is a bit like dipping a cup into the ocean, finding no fish in the cup, and saying the ocean is empty. Fine, but the cup is still empty. The dark forest theory begins with a simple image. Imagine a forest at night. Every civilization is a hunter moving between the trees. Nobody can see very far. Nobody knows who else is nearby. Nobody knows whether the other hunter is peaceful, desperate, terrified, or carrying a weapon much better than yours. In that forest, making noise is not a neutral act. It gives away your position. The theory rests on a few brutal assumptions. First, every long-lived civilization wants to survive. Obvious, yes, but it does a lot of work. A civilization that does not care about survival may not last long enough to become part of the story. One asteroid, one bad war, one ecological collapse, one runaway technology, and it is gone. The survivors are likely to be cautious. Second, you cannot easily know the intentions of another civilization across interstellar distance. If a star is 500 light-years away, your message takes 500 years to arrive. Their answer takes 500 years to come back. A single question and answer takes 1,000 years. By the time the reply returns, your languages may have changed, your governments may have collapsed, your original senders may be dust. Third, technological growth can be uneven. On Earth, a few centuries took us from sailboats and candlelight to nuclear weapons, satellites, and computers small enough to lose under a couch cushion. Give another civilization a million-year head start, and we have no clean way to imagine the gap. A cheap Wi-Fi router in your apartment can already leak signals by accident. Radar systems, television broadcasts, military transmitters, planetary radars. Earth has not been perfectly quiet. But accidental leakage fades with distance. It becomes weak. It spreads out. A deliberate interstellar message is different. It is focused. It says more clearly, here is a technological species, at these coordinates, at this time. That sounds small, but it matters. In the dark forest model, danger does not require evil aliens. You do not need a species that enjoys destruction. You only need a species that cannot be sure about you. If they detect Earth and conclude that humans might one day become dangerous, what is the safest option from their point of view? Wait and hope? Send a friendly message? Study us quietly? Or remove the risk before it grows? It is ugly logic, but it is logic. Civilization A detects Civilization B. A does not know whether B is peaceful. A also does not know how fast B is developing. Maybe B is centuries behind. Maybe B is already ahead and hiding it. Maybe B will become dangerous before A can react. Because messages take so long, there is no quick trust building, no handshake, no emergency hotline, no shared treaty with signatures and a bad coffee machine outside the negotiation room. Just distance and uncertainty. And yes, this gets messy fast. On Earth, we already know how hard it is to trust people we can see. Countries misread military exercises. Companies hide research. People get nervous when a stranger knocks too loudly at night. Now stretch that nervousness across light years. Remove the shared biology. Remove the shared history. Remove the ability to ask a follow-up question, and give both sides technology that might be far beyond ours. The dark forest is not about monsters in space. It is about fear under bad information. This is where SETI and METI split in an interesting way. SETI mostly listens. METI, messaging extraterrestrial intelligence, is about sending messages outward. Humanity has done this in small ways before, like the famous Arecibo message in 1974. METI researchers argue that thinking carefully about how we might communicate is a serious scientific and cultural question. Critics argue that deliberately announcing ourselves is not a decision for one group, one institute, or one generation to make. A student with a laptop can send a post to the whole world and regret it 10 minutes later. A civilization cannot send a clean, "Sorry, ignore that," across 1,000 light years. Once a strong signal leaves, it leaves. The radio wave does not care that politics changed, or the committee was replaced, or people on Earth argued about it later in a comment section with 12 tabs open. There is a counter-argument, and it is important. Maybe hiding is pointless. Earth's atmosphere has shown oxygen for a very long time. A powerful civilization could detect biological signs from far away. Our planet has been visible as an interesting world long before humans built antennas. If someone nearby had the right tools and enough patience, Earth might already be on their list. Also, maybe advanced civilizations are not paranoid hunters. Maybe they are curious. Maybe they have rules. Maybe intelligence tends to become more cooperative over time, not more violent. Maybe destroying young civilizations would be wasteful, immoral, or just unnecessary. The dark forest theory can sound convincing because fear is easy to understand. That does not mean fear is the only rational response. There are many other reasons the sky might seem quiet. Life may be rare. Complex life may be much rarer than simple microbes. Technological civilizations may burn out quickly. They may stop using radio in ways we can detect. Their signals may be too weak, too brief, too compressed, too strange, or pointed somewhere else. Space weather, stars, dust, and distance can also make signals harder to recognize. Some of our search methods may be looking for the cosmic equivalent of a fax machine, while everyone else uses something we have not invented. Not always, of course. Sometimes a signal is just noise. Sometimes a weird pattern is a satellite, a telescope artifact, a microwave oven, or some human-made thing bouncing around the equipment. Scientists have to be boring about this, in the best way. They filter, they check, they try to kill the exciting explanation before accepting it. That is why, No confirmed detection means something, even if it does not mean nobody is there. The dark forest theory is useful because it changes the emotional shape of the Fermi Paradox. The usual version asks, if aliens exist, why have they not visited or contacted us? The dark forest version asks, why would they? What do they gain by speaking? What do they risk by being noticed? A forest can be full of life and still sound quiet when every animal has a reason to stay still. There is one more uncomfortable detail. Humans like to assume that contact would be meaningful because communication is meaningful to us. We send greetings. We put music and images on spacecraft. We imagine a reply, a face, a meeting, maybe a huge moment where humanity finally grows up. There is nothing wrong with that hope. It is one of the better things about us. But hope is not a protocol. If contact ever happens, it may not arrive as a friendly sentence. It may be a technical artifact, a pattern in data, a signal we argue about for years. It may be so old that its senders are gone. It may be so advanced that we do not know whether it is a message, a machine, or a side effect of something bigger. The first proof of another intelligence might not feel like a handshake. It might feel like finding footprints outside your house and not knowing when they were made. So should humanity stay silent? There is no clean answer. Total silence may be impossible. Panic is not a strategy, but neither is careless optimism. The serious lesson of the dark forest theory is not that aliens are definitely hostile. It is that intelligence under uncertainty can become dangerous, even without hatred. When the stakes are survival, fear can start making decisions. Maybe the universe is empty. Maybe it is full of quiet worlds. Maybe intelligent life appears, looks around, listens for a while, and then faces the same choice we are beginning to understand. Speak, hide, or keep listening. For now, Earth is still a small, bright thing around an ordinary star. We have radios, telescopes, arguments, bad passwords, space probes, and a habit of announcing ourselves before agreeing on what we mean. Somewhere above us, the sky remains silent. Maybe that silence is nothing, or maybe it is the oldest warning in the universe.
Thanks for watching! If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. See you in the next one!